In the wealthy suburbs of Sydney, Australia, a man lived like a king. His name was Ali Banat. At just 30 years old, he was everything the world told you to chase. Cash-rich, self-made, and dressed head to toe in designer labels. Rolexes clinked on his wrist. Ferraris growled in his driveway. Security cameras tracked every corner of his mansion. He ran multiple businesses. He didn't need to answer to anyone. He didn't need help. And he definitely didn't need faith. Until the day everything collapsed. It started with a cough, then fatigue, then pain. By the time Ali saw a doctor, it was too late. Stage 4, cancer, terminal. 3 to 7 months to live. No appeal, no negotiation, just a deadline. For most people, that's the end of the story. But for Ali Banat, it was the beginning. The diagnosis hit him like a freight train. But instead of fighting it, he looked at the x-rays and said something doctors had never heard from a dying millionaire. This is a gift from Allah. The next day, he started giving it all away. Not pieces, not percentages, everything. The watches were sold, the businesses shut down. Supercars, gone. The money poured into places few billionaires would even dare to visit. Into the villages of Togo, the slums of Ghana, the forgotten corners of Lebanon and Bangladesh. He didn't hand out cash. He built legacies, water wells, schools, orphan homes, solar systems, and clinics. Places that would still stand long after he was gone. But it wasn't a PR stunt. There was no Hollywood crew, no Instagram filters, just a man with an expiration date and a mission. His health declined fast. By month 4, he couldn't stand without help. By month 6, he was in a wheelchair. But his projects were growing faster than ever. He called it the MATW Project. Muslims around the world. A simple name, a global mission. There were nights he couldn't sleep from the pain. Mornings he couldn't eat. But still he'd whisper into the camera from his hospital bed, asking his followers not to pray for his health, but to donate. Use whatever time you have, he said, before it runs out. The money didn't just come from him anymore. Donations poured in from strangers, Muslims, non-Muslims, even atheists. Not because he preached, but because he acted. He didn't waste time. When he heard about an orphanage with no roof, he wired money the same day. When a child in Africa needed surgery, it was done within hours. No committees, no politics, just urgency. And then silence. On May 29, 2018, Ali Banat died. Not in a hospital, not surrounded by luxury, but in a modest room, wrapped in a white burial cloth, his body taken by men who cried more than they spoke. News of his death spread like wildfire, but the real shock came after. More than 100 projects completed across 10 countries. Tens of thousands fed. Orphans sheltered, schools named in his memory, and not a dollar left behind. His last words in public weren't poetic. They were terrifyingly real. We're all going to end up in the ground, so stop wasting time. Today, Ali's face isn't on billboards. His name isn't in textbooks. But if you walk through a village in Togo and see a child reading by solar light, you'll find a small plaque buried in the wall. It doesn't say millionaire. It doesn't say influencer. It says gifted with cancer, returned with faith. He didn't beat death, he didn't cheat fate, but he left this world with less than he had, and somehow more than most ever will. And all it took was dying to finally start living.